Welcome. Today we take a deep, evidence-forward look at 5 surprising facts about social media platforms, their origins, the measurement behind big claims, and the real cultural and technical effects those facts represent. I'll explain what historians, designers, and researchers actually mean when they tell these stories, and why tiny product decisions often scale into major social outcomes. Our first fact explores a pivotal moment in tech history, one that transformed a little-known app into a global phenomenon. It's a classic tale of adaptation, data, and the courage to abandon a complex idea for a simple one. We begin with Instagram's origin as a completely different product, a multi-feature mobile app nicknamed Bourbon. In its earliest prototype, founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger envisioned Bourbon, a name inspired by their shared taste for fine bourbon, as a comprehensive social tool. It combined location check-ins, similar to the then-popular Foursquare, with future planning features and, almost as an afterthought, photo sharing. The app was feature-rich, allowing users to earn points for hanging out with friends and post micro-updates about their activities. However, this complexity proved to be its biggest weakness. The user experience was cluttered, and the app struggled to define its core purpose in a crowded market. It was trying to do everything, but excelling at nothing. The turning point came not from intuition alone, but from cold, hard data. Systrom and Krieger meticulously tracked usage analytics and user session heat maps. The data told an undeniable story. While features like check-ins and plans were used sparingly, the photo-sharing flow generated the most significant and sustained engagement. Users were consistently drawn to uploading, filtering, and commenting on images. This coincided with a crucial technological shift, the 2010 release of the iPhone 4, which featured a vastly improved camera that made mobile photography a genuinely appealing activity for the average person. Faced with this evidence, the founders made a bold and risky decision. Instead of trying to bolster the unpopular features, they chose to pivot. This meant stripping the product down to its most beloved component. They surgically removed the check-in complexity, abandoned the planning tools, and focused entirely on a simple 3-step process. Take a photo, apply a filter, and share it. They adopted the distinctive square image format for a clean, consistent visual feed, and developed a curated set of image filters that could instantly make amateur photos look more artistic and compelling. This wasn't just a redesign. It was a complete philosophical shift. That pivot from a multi-purpose check-in app to a focused visual social platform, renamed Instagram, illustrates a broader, fundamental pattern in successful product design. The final product is rarely the result of a single perfect vision. Instead, it emerges from a dynamic interplay between platform affordances, improvements in hardware like mobile cameras, and, most importantly, emergent user behavior. Instagram's iconic architecture, the filters, the likes, the simple visual feed, are therefore not accidental aesthetics. They are the carefully curated outcome of observing, understanding, and building for what users actually do, not just what developers think they want. This principle of data-driven simplification remains a core lesson for innovators everywhere. Our second fundamental fact addresses a question that seems simple on the surface, but reveals deep complexities upon closer inspection. How much of our lives do we actually spend on social media? The answer is far from straightforward, because how we measure this time profoundly shapes our understanding of its impact. Let's start with the headline figure. Global reports, such as those from Data Reportal, consistently place the average daily social media time for an active user in the 2 to 3 hour range. As of early 2024, that figure stood at 2 hours and 23 minutes. While this average provides a useful benchmark, it conceals 3 critical complexities that we must unpack. First, the measurement method itself. The numbers vary systematically depending on how they are collected. Self-report surveys, where users are asked to estimate their usage, often produce the lowest figures. Human memory is fallible, and social desirability bias can lead people to unconsciously underreport time they feel is spent unproductively. In contrast, passive device tracking, which uses software to log app usage directly on a user's phone, provides a more objective measure of how long an app is open. However, it can't always distinguish between active engagement and an app running in the background. Finally, platform logs, the internal data held by companies like Meta or TikTok, offer the most granular view, but this data is proprietary, rarely shared publicly, and is defined by metrics that serve the platform's own business objectives. The second complexity is distribution. The global average masks enormous variance. Usage isn't uniform. It follows a power law distribution. A small cohort of hyper-engaged users accounts for a disproportionately large amount of total time spent. Furthermore, national and demographic differences are stark. For instance, users in countries like the Philippines or Brazil often report daily averages exceeding 4 hours. Similarly, younger cohorts, particularly Gen Z, live much of their social and cultural lives online, spending significantly more time on these platforms than older generations, creating a pronounced statistical skew. Third, we must consider the quality and nature of the activity. Not all minutes are created equal. An hour spent actively creating content, messaging friends, and engaging in community discussions is qualitatively different from an hour of passive, hypnotic scrolling through a recommendation feed. The latter, often driven by powerful algorithms, can lead to a state of dissociated attention, where time passes without conscious awareness. Platforms, in their quest to maximize the simple metric of time spent, have a powerful incentive to design features that encourage this passive consumption. This optimization for session duration has cascading effects, shaping the recommendation algorithms, favoring certain content formats like short-form video, and defining the entire marketplace for human attention. Therefore, when we discuss time spent, responsible analysis must move beyond simple averages. It is essential to specify the measurement method, examine the demographic and geographic splits, and acknowledge the distributional effects that determine whose voices and experiences dominate the digital public square. Understanding these nuances is the first step toward a more informed conversation about the role of social media in our lives. Fact 3. The selfie phenomenon. This chapter examines the technological infrastructure, immense scale, and profound cultural effects of the modern self-portrait. The selfie is not merely a photograph, it is a complex interplay of purpose-built hardware, sophisticated software, and evolving social norms. The journey began with a simple but critical hardware innovation, the front-facing camera. Initially a low-resolution component for video calls, its quality rapidly improved, driven by consumer demand for better self-portraits. This was paired with software engineered for immediacy, low-latency capture to eliminate frustrating delays, and user interfaces designed to move an image from lens to social feed in a matter of seconds. Together, these elements removed nearly all friction from the act of self-portraiture, transforming it from a niche activity into a global constant. Quantifying the scale of this phenomenon is notoriously difficult. What one platform defines as a selfie, another might not. Does a group photo taken with a front camera count? What about a mirror selfie? Despite this methodological messiness, the overarching trend is undeniable. Estimates suggest that hundreds of millions, if not billions, of user-facing images are created daily. A significant portion of all photographs uploaded to social platforms are now some form of self-presentation, making the selfie one of the most dominant photographic genres in history. The cultural impacts are just as tangible. Software features like augmented reality filters, which can alter facial structure, smooth skin, and change eye color, have created new, often unattainable standards of digital beauty. Ephemeral formats, pioneered by platforms like Snapchat, encourage more frequent and casual sharing, but also create a constant pressure to document one's life. This ecosystem is governed by social metrics, likes, comments, and shares, which function as a real-time feedback system for social approval, shaping how users curate their online identities. Empirical research has established clear links between high levels of image-based social media use and measurable psychological effects, including increased social comparison and body image concerns. Beyond personal identity, the selfie has fundamentally reconfigured commerce. It has become a primary tool in influencer marketing, shifting advertising budgets from traditional media to individuals who have mastered the art of self-presentation. In short, the selfie is far more than a simple photo. It is a powerful technology that has reshaped social interaction, aesthetic norms, mental well-being, and the very priorities of camera hardware design. Fact 4. Twitter's early name and the productization of brevity. In its prototyping phase, the service that became Twitter used shortened names like TWT and experimented with SMS-style character constraints. That design lineage mattered. Building for short, frequent updates created a conversational rhythm favoring immediacy, repeat posting, and rapid amplification. Over time, that rhythm shaped meme propagation, headline-driven virality, and a distinctive public sphere for fast-breaking news and collective attention. The lesson is structural. Constraints on message length and friction change the economics of attention and the stylistic norms of discourse. A naming quirk or early technical limitation is therefore not mere trivia. It encodes an affordance that later interacts with social dynamics and political information flows. Fact 5. Why Facebook is blue and what small design choices teach us about platform scale. One often cited origin story points to the founder's red-green color vision deficiency as one factor guiding palette decisions. Whether the founder's personal preference was decisive or simply contributory, the important analytical point is that early design choices, color palette, typography, spacing, become durable system properties once millions adopt the interface. Those properties affect legibility, accessibility, brand recognition, and third-party integrations. At scale, idiosyncratic choices harden into conventions that shape developer tooling, plugins, and the visual language of an industry. Synthesis. Across these 5 items, we find consistent themes. Product pivots driven by user behavior, attention as the commodity platforms compete over, hardware-software coevolution shaping cultural practice, and the outsized consequences of small early design decisions. These are not isolated curiosities. They are lenses for understanding how digital platforms form and then reconfigure social norms, market incentives, and information flows. For sources and suggested readings that informed this episode, check the description below. If you value careful, source-based explainers about tech and culture, subscribe for more episodes that dig into the design, data, and social science behind platforms.